Hello, this is the talk that I was going to give at the industry day at VidCon 2022, or Creator Track. Creator Track Keynote is actually what it is. Hello, I have COVID, so I wasn't able to do this, but now you get to see it anyway. I want to talk to you about a little thing I'm calling the curse of the swipe. What is that? It's the way in which everybody, except for one group of people, and we'll get to which one, is being negatively impacted by swipeable content. Let's talk about it. So the way that this all works is that there's power that different groups of people have. And I'm just going to say, for the sake of simplicity of this particular story, that we're just got three different groups here. Now, there's more than these three groups, but basically we've got three different groups here. There's the creators who make the content, the audience that consumes the content, and the platform that is the place on which the content goes and the place on which the audience goes, and they share power. And once upon a time, there was like television and movies. Television and movies, you have a ridiculous, like super totally ludicrous situation where there's only like, when I was growing up, maybe 40 television stations and a couple of dozen screens in your town. The screens are open like 8 hours a day. The TV stations are 24 hours a day, but that's all you got. And so you're in a situation where like you can get charged $150 a month for like $100 stations of content, 100 television channels, and you're still going to get 8 minutes of ads for every 30 minutes of content. That's more than a quarter of the content is going to be ads. So that's a situation the platform has a tremendous amount of control, and they are controlling that so that the experience of the audience is less good, the experience of the creators is very stifled. And then what you end up with is this little thing called YouTube that comes on and is like, what if instead of 100 channels 24 hours a day, it was infinity channels, infinity hours per day, and you can get it whenever you want? And everybody was like, it's probably not going to be that big of a deal. Or at least that's what television stations thought. They were like, hey, we're going to spend $10,000 a minute making content. You're not going to be able to compete with that. But maybe they can spend a lot less money per minute making content, like $0, for example, and some of that stuff's going to be like similarly compelling. And what you end up with is a situation where YouTube, the platform, gave away a lot of the power to the audience. And what that does, and that doesn't mean that YouTube doesn't have power. It means that it's given up a lot of that power and is not leveraging that power for optimal, like whatever it would like. Like YouTube would love for everybody to pay $150 a month for it and to sit through 8 minutes of ads every 30 minutes of content. It would love that. That would be amazing, but it's not going to happen. So it gave away a lot of that power to the audience so that it would be a better audience experience, so that the audience then would not have would come over and use it instead of using television. And that worked quite well. Creators also were empowered in this situation. And when audience gets a lot of power, actually what tends to happen is you get a big diversification of the kinds of content that gets created because the audience gets to choose rather than having a bunch of people wearing business suits who look mostly a specific way, making all of the decisions, and also who are trying to make decisions based on what's going to have like maximum appeal to the maximum number of people, rather than trying to create more niche content, which television certainly started to do, but YouTube certainly did much more than that. Over time, though, what happens is YouTube starts to claw some of that power back. It adds more mid-rolls, it adds more like other systems for monetization, and also it's basically like you should probably pay for YouTube after all because there's so many ads now. And so you start to get this situation where you've left a little bit of a vacuum over here in the audience quadrant because it's clawing the power back. Now, some people will look at this and they will say, Hank, why did you put like half the power in platform, half the power in creators? That's certainly not the case. And I don't know. It's all arbitrary. Of course, there's nothing objective about this, but I will remind you of Facebook, which really sort of pulled all of the power straight to the peak there, so that neither the audience nor the creators have any sway. And that worked really well for them in terms of monetization for a long time, but it does not seem to be working great for them in the long term. So you left that little vacuum over there on the side, and so now you get somebody else coming along to make a whole new world of primarily good for audience. This is where we're going to be now. We're going to be good in the we're going to be something that's so good for the audience that they're going to like it as much as like some drugs, right? It's going to be we're going to have a product in place to tell you to stop using the platform. That's how sticky this is going to be, because the swipe is such a marvelous mechanic. And also, it means that advertisements are very low value because you can just swipe past them very quickly. You can recognize them immediately and swipe past. Also, it means that brand deals are very hard to make work, because if you do a brand deal, the audience recognizes that quickly. And any tiny decision that audiences are making where they say, actually, I don't want to watch that because I saw a little hashtag ad or because whatever, they're going to swipe past it, and the algorithm's going to amplify that. So it can be a very subtle change in user behavior that then gets amplified by an algorithm and makes it so that brand deals don't work on the platform very well. So in this situation, audience is being served extremely well. That means that TikTok has been the top app in the App Store for 2 years, and that's what they want, and that's what they're going to, that's the situation that they are in. But over a period of time, we're going to be trying to work out a way to claw back some of that value from the audience. Because ultimately, there is good things about serving the audience this much. It is tremendously culturally impactful. Culture grows very fast in a situation like this. Lots of new memes, lots of new successful people who wouldn't otherwise have found success. So there are certainly advantages to this. But you're also in a situation where you have a lot of creators who can't last on a platform. They can't continue to grow. It's very hard to grow community. And you have a platform that is under-monetized. And they are going to try and claw that back. But at the same time, interestingly, YouTube was over here, and now it's down here because, and also Instagram, because they, instead of being like Blockbuster Video and saying, all right, Netflix, you have your business, we'll have ours, they're like, no, we are also going to compete in this space with swipeable products. We are going to give up a lot of our power to our audience and send our users into this unmonetized space. And not just unmonetized, it's negatively monetized for them because they're paying creators to create in those spaces before those spaces are monetized. Now, I don't think that these spaces will always be unmonetized. I think they will certainly get monetized over time, and they will be more effectively monetized in the future than they are now. But what we saw with television is we never got anything like the amount of value back that they had when they had that much platform control. So the amount of money they could charge, the number of advertisements they could show was just way, way more than we ever got back after YouTube did that disruption. And I think that will be the same situation for swipeable video content. We're going to have to figure out ways, and this is going to be the story of the next 5-10 years, figuring out ways to let users get video content in this way that they like very much, but also establish deeper relationships with them, also figure out other ways to monetize and share that revenue between the platform and the creator. Otherwise, there isn't a creator economy here. There is just people making stuff, burning out, audiences being temporarily satisfied with candy-like content, and then all of it coming eventually crashing down, one assumes, or maybe not, because there's always someone there to take the space of the person who burned out and say, this is good, I like it, for 6 months until they burn out too. And that's my talk. It was supposed to be 5 minutes long and it was 9 minutes, so probably for the best that I just did it here anyway.